Welcome to this exciting and detailed video where we explore the top 4 most valuable Monticello Jefferson nickel coins, small 5-cent pieces that many people ignore, yet some of them are worth thousands of dollars today. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938 and features Thomas Jefferson on the front and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse. While billions have been produced, a few rare dates and era varieties stand out as true collector treasures. If you have old nickels at home, this is a list you don't want to miss. Let's get started. First up, the 1969 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark, found in very fine condition, a coin that at first glance looks modest, yet carries a story far bigger than its size. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel and introducing a new design that honored one of America's most influential founding fathers. By 1969, this series had already been in circulation for more than 3 decades, becoming one of the most recognized coins in the country. Millions of Americans handled Jefferson nickels every single day without giving them a second thought. On the obverse of the 1969 S nickel, you will see the familiar left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. His image is calm and dignified, capturing the character of the 3rd President of the United States. The word Liberty appears to the right, along with the date 1969, and just beside it sits the small but important S mint mark, indicating that this coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint. Turn the coin over, and you will find the detailed image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home. The building stands proudly in the center, with the inscriptions United States of America and 5 cents framing the design. The word Monticello appears directly beneath the structure, anchoring the reverse in architectural elegance. The 1969 S Jefferson nickel was struck in a time when coin production was modernizing, yet still relied on traditional minting techniques. These nickels are composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving them a durable silver-gray appearance. Unlike silver coins of earlier decades, this nickel was designed for longevity in everyday commerce. In very fine condition, the 1969 S nickel shows moderate but even wear. Jefferson's hair will display noticeable flattening on the highest curls, yet many details remain visible. His cheek and jawline are smooth but still defined. The lettering remains bold, and the S mint mark should be clear and sharp. On the reverse, Monticello's steps and columns may show signs of wear, especially on the fine architectural lines. However, in very fine condition, the building structure is still easily identifiable, and the inscriptions remain strong and legible. This level of preservation reflects a coin that circulated but was not abused. Now let us talk about value. In standard very fine condition, a typical 1969 S Jefferson nickel is usually worth only a small premium over face value. Millions were produced, making it relatively common. But as with many coins, the true excitement lies in varieties and mint errors. Collectors pay close attention to double die varieties. If the date, lettering, or mint mark shows clear signs of doubling caused during the die creation process, the value can increase significantly. True double dies are highly sought after and can transform a common nickel into a desirable collectible. Another possibility is an off-center strike. If the planchet was misaligned during minting, part of the design may be missing or shifted. These dramatic errors catch the eye immediately and often command strong premiums, even in circulated grades. Die cracks, cuds, and other striking anomalies also add character and value. A die crack appears as a raised line on the coin's surface, created when the minting die fractures. Larger breaks in the die can create raised blobs of metal known as cuds, which are prized by error collectors. The S mint mark itself is an important detail. During certain years, variations in mint mark placement or style can create collectible sub-varieties. Careful examination under magnification is essential for spotting these differences. Condition remains a major factor. While very fine is not the highest grade, it still retains much of the original detail. A coin with smooth surfaces, even wear, and strong eye appeal is far more attractive than one with scratches or corrosion. Professional grading can elevate a coin's market position. Once authenticated and graded by a reputable service, a rare variety gains credibility. Buyers are more confident, and auction results often reflect that assurance. The late 1960s were an interesting time in American coinage. The mint was adjusting to rising metal costs and evolving production methods. With large mintages, minor errors inevitably slipped through, creating opportunities for collectors decades later. Many people overlook nickels when searching through old change, focusing instead on pennies or silver coins. This makes the Jefferson nickel series an exciting field for those willing to look closer. Very fine condition tells a story. This 1969 nickel likely passed through countless hands, traveled through stores and banks, and served its role in daily transactions before being set aside. The Monticello design itself carries historical weight. It connects collectors to Thomas Jefferson's legacy and to the architectural beauty of his Virginia estate. Weight is another tool for collectors. A standard 1969 nickel should weigh about 5 grams. Any major deviation could signal a wrong planchet error, which would be extremely rare and potentially very valuable. Education is essential. The more you learn about minting errors, die varieties, and grading standards, the better equipped you are to identify something special. Never clean your coin. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and significantly reduce its value. Original surfaces, even with honest wear, are always preferred. The thrill of coin collecting lies in possibility. Every coin examined holds the potential for discovery. Online communities and auctions have increased awareness of modern coin varieties. As knowledge spreads, demand for certain rare examples grows. Even a humble nickel can surprise the market when a rare and dramatic error surfaces. The Jefferson nickel series remains one of the most accessible and fascinating areas of numismatics. Collectors appreciate the blend of history, artistry, and affordability that this series offers. A 1969 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition may appear simple, but under careful study it can reveal far more than expected. And in the rarest and most extraordinary circumstances, when a significant mint error, strong collector demand, and certified authentication align perfectly, a 1969 Monticello Jefferson nickel has reached astonishing heights, with examples valued as high as $45,000. Next up, the 1940 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, found in very fine condition. This small 5-cent coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but it carries the weight of history, craftsmanship, and the thrilling possibility of hidden value. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the famous Buffalo nickel with a fresh new design that honored Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. By 1940, the design was still relatively new, shining in American commerce as the country stood on the edge of dramatic global change. On the obverse of the 1940 nickel, you will see the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. His expression is composed and dignified, sculpted with fine detail that reflects the artistry of the era. The word Liberty appears to the right, along with the date 1940. If there is no mint mark beside the date, that means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse features the elegant structure of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate. The building stands proudly at the center, with United States of America and 5 cents surrounding it, and the word Monticello displayed beneath the architectural design. Even after decades, the symmetry and detail of this reverse remain impressive. The 1940 Jefferson nickel was composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Unlike the wartime nickels that would appear a few years later with silver content, this coin represents the standard composition used before World War II altered American coinage materials. It weighs approximately 5 grams and has a strong, durable metallic tone. In very fine condition, the coin shows moderate wear but retains much of its original character. Jefferson's hair will display flattening on the highest curls, yet many strands remain visible. His cheek and jawline are smooth but still defined. The lettering is bold and clear, and the surfaces show honest circulation without heavy damage. On the reverse, Monticello's steps and columns may exhibit some smoothing, especially on the finer details. However, the structure remains well outlined, and the inscriptions are strong. This balance between wear and preservation is what defines a very fine grade. Now let us explore value. A standard 1940 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in very fine condition is generally affordable and common. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these coins, making them accessible to collectors. However, the real excitement begins when we consider varieties and mint errors. Collectors closely examine 1940 nickels for doubled die varieties. A doubled die can cause noticeable doubling in the lettering, date, or design elements. True doubled dies are created during the die manufacturing process and can significantly increase a coin's desirability. Another fascinating possibility is a repunched mint mark variety, though this applies to coins with mint marks. Even so, Subtle die variations and minor errors can still exist on Philadelphia issues without mint marks. Die cracks and cuds are also important to look for. A die crack appears as a raised line caused by a fracture in the minting die. A cud forms when a portion of the die breaks away, leaving a raised lump of metal on the coin's surface. These features are prized by collectors who specialize in error coins. Off-center strikes are visually dramatic and highly collectible. If a coin was not properly aligned during striking, part of the design may be missing or shifted. Even in very fine condition, such an error can command strong premiums. Weight and composition checks can also reveal rare wrong planchet errors. A standard 1940 nickel should weigh about 5 grams. Any significant deviation could indicate that the coin was struck on an incorrect metal blank, which would be extremely rare. Condition always plays a major role in determining value. While very fine is not the highest grade, it still preserves important design details. A coin with smooth surfaces and attractive toning will always be more desirable than one with scratches or corrosion. Professional grading services add credibility and market confidence. When a rare variety is authenticated and encapsulated, it becomes more appealing to serious buyers and can achieve stronger auction results. The year 1940 sits in an important historical context. America was still recovering from the Great Depression, and global tensions were rising. This nickel circulated during a time when the world was on the brink of transformation. Holding a 1940 Jefferson nickel is like holding a small piece of that era. It may have passed through the hands of shopkeepers, factory workers, and families during uncertain times. The Monticello design itself connects collectors to Thomas Jefferson's legacy and to early American ideals of liberty and independence. Many collectors focus on silver coins or gold pieces, often overlooking nickels. This makes the Jefferson nickel series an exciting area for those willing to search carefully. Very fine condition tells a story of circulation without abuse. It shows that the coin fulfilled its purpose while still retaining much of its original artistry. Education is the key to unlocking hidden value. Studying known varieties, learning grading standards, and using proper tools like magnification and digital scales can reveal important details. Never clean your coin. Cleaning removes original surfaces and drastically reduces value. Collectors prefer natural wear and toning over artificial shine. The coin market is driven by rarity and demand. When a rare error or variety surfaces, competitive bidding can push prices far beyond expectations. Every coin examined carries the possibility of discovery. Even a common date like 1940 can surprise you under careful inspection. The Jefferson nickel series remains one of the most accessible and historically rich areas of American numismatics. Collectors appreciate the balance between affordability and potential in this series. A 1940 no-mint mark nickel in very fine condition may seem simple, but under the right circumstances it can become something remarkable. Next up, the 1978 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, found in circulated condition, a coin that may look ordinary but carries history, character, and surprising potential. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel with a new design honoring Thomas Jefferson. By 1978, this design had already been a steady part of American commerce for 4 decades. It was familiar, dependable, and quietly present in everyday transactions across the country. On the obverse of the 1978 nickel, you will see the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. His features are strong yet calm, a tribute to one of America's founding fathers. The word liberty appears to the right, along with the date 1978. If there is no mint mark beside the date, that indicates the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse of the coin showcases Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate. The building is centered proudly, with United States of America along the top and 5 cents below. The word Monticello sits beneath the structure, grounding the design in architectural beauty and historical meaning. The 1978 Jefferson nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a durable metallic appearance. Unlike pennies of the same era, which underwent metal changes in the early 1980s, the nickel's composition remained consistent, offering strength and longevity in circulation. In circulated condition, a 1978 nickel typically shows signs of wear. Jefferson's hair may appear flattened on the highest curls, and his cheek may look smoother than when the coin was new. The lettering remains visible, though slightly softened by years of handling. On the reverse, The steps of Monticello may show wear, and the fine details of the columns may not be as sharp. However, the overall structure remains clear and recognizable. Circulated condition tells a story of use, movement, and everyday life. Now let us talk about value. A standard 1978 nickel without a mint mark in circulated condition is generally worth face value. Millions were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, making it very common. But as every experienced collector knows, rarity is not always about the date alone. Within high mintage years, mint errors and die varieties can occur. These are the coins that transform an ordinary 5-cent piece into a collector's prize. Doubled dies are one of the most sought-after varieties. If the date or lettering shows clear doubling caused during die creation, the value can rise significantly. Another exciting possibility is an off-center strike. If the coin was misaligned during the minting process, part of the design may be missing or shifted. These dramatic errors are visually striking and highly collectible, even in circulated grades. Die cracks and cuds are also important to examine. A die crack appears as a raised line caused by a fracture in the die. A cud forms when a portion of the die breaks away, leaving a raised lump of metal on the coin. Both features are signs of minting imperfections that collectors appreciate. Weight is another tool for discovery. A normal 1978 nickel should weigh about 5 grams. If you find one that weighs significantly more or less, it could indicate a wrong planchet error, which would be extremely rare. Circulated coins can still have strong eye appeal. A smooth surface with even wear is far more desirable than a coin with deep scratches or corrosion. Natural toning, whether light gray or darker in shade, can add character without harming value. Professional grading services play a key role in determining serious market value. When a rare variety is authenticated and encapsulated, buyer confidence increases, often leading to stronger auction results. The late 1970s were a period of economic change in America. Inflation was rising, and coins were heavily used in daily commerce. A 1978 nickel may have passed through countless hands during this time, witnessing small, everyday transactions that built the rhythm of daily life. Collectors often overlook modern-era nickels, focusing instead on older silver issues. This makes the Jefferson nickel series an interesting field for those willing to search carefully. The Monticello design adds timeless appeal. It connects collectors to Thomas Jefferson's architectural vision and to American heritage. Even in circulated condition, a 1978 no-mint mark nickel can hold fascination when studied closely. Small details can reveal surprising stories. Education is essential. Learning about known varieties, understanding grading standards, and using proper magnification can help you identify something unusual. Never clean your coin. Cleaning removes original surfaces and reduces collector interest. Honest circulation is always better than artificial shine. The thrill of coin collecting lies in possibility. Every coin examined carries a spark of hope that it might be something special. Online marketplaces and collector forums have made it easier to research and compare coins. Awareness of rare varieties spreads quickly, increasing demand for standout examples. Sometimes it is not the age of the coin but the uniqueness of its error that determines value. A simple 1978 Jefferson nickel may seem insignificant, but under the right circumstances it can surprise even experienced collectors. The joy of the hobby comes from patience and attention to detail. Each circulated coin represents decades of history in your hand. The Jefferson nickel series continues to attract collectors because of its long history and hidden potential. Next up, the 1979 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, found in very fine condition, a coin that appears ordinary yet carries layers of history, craftsmanship, and surprising potential. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel and introducing a design that honored Thomas Jefferson. By 1979, this design had already been part of American life for more than 40 years. It had survived wartime alloy changes, economic shifts, and evolving minting technology, yet it remained steady and familiar in everyday transactions. On the obverse of the 1979 nickel, you see the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. His features are dignified and calm, sculpted with detail that still holds up decades later. The word Liberty appears to the right, along with the date 1979. If there is no mint mark beside the date, that indicates the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate. The building stands centered and balanced, with United States of America arching above and 5 cents below. The word Monticello is inscribed beneath the structure, tying the coin's identity to American history and architecture. The 1979 Jefferson nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This durable alloy gives the coin its silver-gray appearance and ensures it can withstand years of circulation. It weighs approximately 5 grams and has a solid, sturdy feel in the hand. In very fine condition, the coin shows moderate wear but still retains strong detail. Jefferson's hair will appear slightly flattened on the highest curls, yet many lines remain visible. His cheek and jawline are smooth but clearly defined. The lettering is bold, and the overall design remains sharp enough to appreciate its original artistry. On the reverse, Monticello's columns and steps may show some smoothing from circulation. However, the structure is still clearly outlined, and the inscriptions are strong and readable. Very fine condition represents a balance between circulation and preservation, making it an appealing grade for collectors. Now let us talk about value. A typical 1979 nickel without a mint mark in very fine condition is generally worth face value. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these coins, making them common. But as experienced collectors know, true value often hides in the details. One of the most exciting possibilities is the presence of a double die variety. If the date or lettering shows clear doubling created during the die-making process, the coin can become highly desirable. True double dies are rare and can significantly increase value. Off-center strikes are another dramatic mint error to watch for. If the planchet was misaligned during striking, part of the design may be missing or shifted. Even in very fine condition, such an error can command strong collector interest. Die cracks and cuds are also important. A die crack appears as a raised line caused by a fracture in the die. A cud forms when a piece of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. These imperfections are fascinating because they reveal the life cycle of the minting tools. Collectors also examine the steps of Monticello carefully. While full steps are more often discussed in higher grades, even circulated examples can show interesting strike characteristics that add to their appeal. Weight checking is another helpful method. A standard 1979 nickel should weigh about 5 grams. Any significant variation could indicate a wrong planchet error, which would be extremely rare and valuable. Eye appeal matters even in very fine condition. A coin with smooth surfaces and even toning is far more attractive than one with scratches or heavy damage. Natural aging gives character without harming value. Professional grading services can authenticate rare varieties and provide an official grade. Once encapsulated, a coin becomes more appealing to serious buyers and often achieves stronger results at auction. The late 1970s were a time of economic change and rising inflation. Coins circulated heavily as everyday tools of commerce. A 1979 nickel may have passed through countless transactions, quietly serving its purpose in daily life. Holding this coin connects you to that era. It may have been used in grocery stores, vending machines, or small businesses decades ago. The Monticello design remains one of the most enduring images in American coinage. Its symmetry and architectural detail continue to attract collectors. Many people overlook modern-era nickels, assuming they hold no significant value. Yet history has shown that even common dates can surprise the market when rare errors are discovered. Education is essential. Learning about minting errors, studying known varieties, and understanding grading standards can help you identify something special. Never clean your coin. Cleaning damages the original surface and reduces value. Collectors always prefer natural wear over artificial shine. Online auctions and collector communities have made it easier than ever to research and compare coins. Awareness of rare varieties spreads quickly, increasing demand for standout examples. The thrill of coin collecting lies in possibility. Every coin you examine could hold a hidden surprise. A 1979 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in very fine condition may seem simple, but careful inspection can reveal fascinating details. The Jefferson nickel series continues to offer opportunity for collectors of all levels. Sometimes it is not the age of the coin but the uniqueness of its error that determines extraordinary value. Patience and attention to detail are the collector's greatest tools. Even a humble 5-cent piece can capture the imagination when history and rarity intersect. And in the rarest and most extraordinary circumstances, when a significant mint error, exceptional eye appeal, and certified authentication align perfectly, a 1979 Monticello Jefferson nickel without a mint mark has reached remarkable heights, with examples valued as high as $45,000.